We'll teach you how to design a jewelry box using Tinkercad and export an SVG file for Inkscape that we could print and use as a blueprint. All right. Click on Chrome, go to Tinkercad. Sign in. Your login should be your school email. Password is A00 and your ID number, lowercase a00 and your ID number. Now, if you never made an account through the school, you're going to have to make one. Your username will be your email address, and make your password lowercase a00 and your ID number. Great. Create a new design. We're going to set up your Tinkercad file by editing the grid, changing millimeters to inches, and give yourself a work plane that's 20 by 20. Update grid. Make sure down here at the snap is 1/8 of an inch, and it might help to use a mouse. Okay. First thing that you're going to do is drag out a box and just make it bigger. When you scale your box, the easiest way to do so is to click on the dimensions and type in whatever it is that you want. In this case, I'm going to make my jewelry box 8 inches by 8 inches and hit enter. That looks good. Next, we're going to duplicate it, and that made an exact copy of my original box. So what we're going to do is push in the sides 3/8 of an inch giving them correct thickness. Three-eighths of an inch is exactly 3 snap units. Make sure everything looks even. Make sure you have your inside box selected. Make it a hole. Raise it up a little bit. Grab the little cone and make sure that it pushes all the way through your box. Make sure everything's nice and even. Select it all. Click group. Okay. Here's the outside walls of your jewelry box. You can scale it from now on to meet whatever the criteria are or the goals for your jewelry box. So, what we're going to do now is focus on the height. I'm going to make mine 2 inches. You can make yours whatever height you want. Make sure to have a ruler sitting next to you, so when you prototype and test out different ideas, you can make sure that they're going to be the right dimension. I'm going to put in some dividers. Pulling out a box, making it only 1/8 of an inch thick, and stretching it out. And you can use the arrows to go ahead and move your dividers around. Now, your dividers can be arranged in any which way you need, depending on what you're designing your box for and what your client needs. What are their criteria? Make sure to have your dividers be even with the wall. Try not to have them pushed in. We're going to be using this as a blueprint to build your design. So when you slide your dividers in, you're going to make sure that they're the same length as the interior length on the inside. So I'm going to raise them up a little bit. I'm going to make my dividers be 1.5 inches tall. Great. Going to pull out another piece and make another divider. Again, I'm going to make it 1/8 of an inch thick. And you don't need to be too concerned with getting the size of it right until you park it inside your box. The arrows are really helpful when moving your divider around within your model. Again, I'm going to make this 1.5 inches tall to match the height of the other divider. So you're probably going to want a few more dividers than this, but I'm going to show you what to do in the next step. After you have come up with a working prototype that meets the criteria of your project, keeping in mind the constraints as well, you can use this ruler function to verify and just make sure that you have enough room for your jewelry. Okay, so make sure that you have the correct length and width of each of the specified sections of your box. Okay. Next, we're going to grab out the text function. And we're going to make sure that we label each section of your box the name of whatever item you're putting in there. Don't worry about size yet. You can always scale it later. Use your arrows to move the word around. Label each section so that we know what belongs in it. If you hold the Shift button while pulling on the handles, it'll scale your word proportionately. Use the rotating function to get the proper orientation of your word. Once you have scrutinized and proved that the pieces that you're designing your jewelry box for will fit in these sections and that your goals of your client are met, then it's time to make sure that everything is laid on the ground of the work plane. If it's not, click on it and use this black cone to raise it along the z-axis. Great. Make sure that you don't have any junk on the outside of your box. When you're ready, you're going to export it as an SVG file. Take the file, drop it on your desktop. Feel free to rename it. And open up Inkscape. What we're going to do now is we're going to export the SVG file from Tinkercad and import it into Inkscape. Go ahead and open up your file, which should be on your desktop. Next, we need to set up our document. The way that we're going to do that is click on File, Document Properties, change the default units to inches, and change the paper size to US letter. Close out of it. Next, click on your design. Make sure that it's centered on the paper. Once you're ready to print, File, Print. Scroll down to where it says PLAB. Click on Page Setup first. Make sure that this is 100%, meaning it'll print it at a 1-to-1 scale. PLAB, print, and go pick up your printed blueprint in the prototype lab. From here, you're going to add on with a ruler the dimensions of your outside walls and the dimensions of your inside dividers. Thanks for watching.